What is up, golf fans? Welcome to Golf. Before I got going, I wanted to share a little bit about what I've been doing, other tournaments. Recently just got done with a team event, the VSGA multi-format. Played really well in the first round with my partner, Brian. Shouts out, Brian. Shot 60 with a scramble in the first round at a tough course in Spring Creek. We got absolutely run over in round two by the buzzsaw that was Evan Beck and Mikey Moyers. What was really cool for me, and I think for Brian as well, is we got to, I think, watch them shoot a pretty amazing modified alt shot 63 on a hard course. I think for me, like what I learned from that round was that, once you get to the really, really good elite tier amateur levels, you really have to go out and start making a lot of birdies. I think what really stood out was, one, consistency. They really did not miss many, if any, shots throughout the round. Scoring as well was the second thing. Inside of 180 yards, it was tough to find a whole lot of shots that were outside of 10 or 15 feet. I think if you're going out and making 7, 8, 9, 10 birdies in a round, that's just something that has to happen. Is you have to give yourself a lot of chances. I think going into this round, this was the first round I had played since that tournament. I felt like I had hit the ball really well in the first round. There were moments of playing okay, I think, in the second round, but had started to get a little loose with ball striking. I think I wanted to take the approach of being a lot more aggressive, taking a lot more direct lines at flags, and trying to see if I could make a lot of birdies. Unrelated to the round, one other thing that I was excited about for the round is actually this shirt. Todd Snyder is a big menswear brand that I really like. I own a few pieces from his brand. It was really exciting news, I think, for me and for a lot of other people to see that he did a collaboration with FootJoy. I think one of the things when you look at when you see Todd Snyder's brand is it is a very premium brand, and I do love it for that. I was super excited to see that this came in at a relatively reasonable price point, and I think it's cool to see a more mainstream menswear brand starting to creep into mainstream golf culture. And I think that this is a really good direction for golf fashion in general, and excited to see what else happens out of collaborations like this, or seeing if other brands similar to Todd Snyder decide to jump into the game. Growing up in the DC area, Westfields has always been one of the nicest publicly available golf courses, since it's maintained as a semi-private club. It always has had a soft spot in my heart, because growing up as a kid, Freddie Couples was my favorite golfer, and he designed the course. I got a tip from a friend that this was one of the few courses that wasn't torn up by aerations and that the greens were running great. So I was excited to get out and play. With that, let's get into the round. First hole here is a straightforward par 4. I was warming up on the range. I was feeling pretty good. Like I mentioned, I had just come off a tournament where I was playing well. So I was really excited to get out and be aggressive and really adopt the mindset of trying to go low. One of the things I noticed was that the wind was really blowing, and that in the trees it gets a little gusty. So I thought that was something I was going to have to be mindful of as the round went on. Hit a pretty good shot here, right down the middle. It was a nice way to start. After dropping one in the fairway, it was nice to step up and hit a good iron. I felt like I was off to a good start and thought I was going to be able to make some birdies. Left myself with about 30 feet here for birdie. Putting greens were quick. I thought this would be pretty quick. I looked I kind of looked at the hole from the side, which is something I do to see, how much the putt is uphill or downhill. And something that you can see here, I think I got that wrong. When I actually went around to the other side of the hole, I saw that it was downhill, and then you can even kind of see it from this angle. It looks more uphill than it actually is. So, got fooled a little bit on that first putt. Made a good stroke here to save par. Nice to avoid any mistakes to get going. Second hole here, another par 4, pretty much straight away. This time the wind was at our back. Hole slides a little bit to the right, so it hit a good drive here that covered the bunker on the right. This left 122, and I got a little bit steep on this wedge. It hit the green, but not what you're looking for from a good position. With the greens being in good shape, I felt pretty comfortable about hitting a good putt here or getting something close. Mike, the guy in the white jacket, who's my playing partner, gave me a tip that the first green is usually faster than the rest of them, and I think you're going to see that show up here. Hit a good putt, but left it a little short. I think this left about 5, maybe 6 feet for par, and it was. I thought it was a straight putt, but it was not really hit well, and I think it broke a little bit more than I thought. So unfortunately, had a 3 putt. Getting onto the third hole, this is where things started to get a little tricky. Third hole is really tough, especially from the back tees, which are the boom boom tees. Feeling on the last hole like it was downwind, this hole was heading in the same direction, and even though it was 223 to the pin, I had 5 iron, and here I switched to 4. I kind of felt the wind swirling like I had mentioned before, and was too scared of leaving things short. I'm blocking it out because I'm blocking it out with my body, but if I move a little bit, there's water all up the left side, so I wanted to make sure I got over it. Ended up making a really good swing and got onto the green. I think for a hole that was the wind blowing hard, playing this long, it definitely felt like picking up half a shot, being able to hit the green. Made a good roll here, had good speed, tapped it in for par. I felt pretty good about getting out with 3. Fourth hole is a straightaway par 5, and at this point, we're turning back into the wind. So really important to control the spin with the driver, which is something I've really had trouble with recently. No shot tracer, but it ended up hitting a little bit of a pull here. I think I kind of got stuck in between shot selection of like trying to hit one low versus trying to just hit a normal drive, and ended up pulling it. This ended up leaving a punch out, and I think I honestly should have picked a different club, but this ended up being okay given the circumstances. Tough to make good scores when you're playing from behind on par 5s, and 196 back into the wind. I had 6 iron here. I kind of felt that I was on a little bit of a downhill lie with the ball above my feet. I was kind of playing for a little low spin draw, and I think I got mudballed a little bit because this one felt pretty good hitting it, but kind of knuckled out to the right. I didn't really know that the green, that the pin was that far to the right. It had been a little while since I played here, and I probably should have picked a less aggressive line from that yardage. Unfortunately, left myself short-sighted and with this chip. Hit a good chip. I actually landed this where I wanted to in the rough. The ground felt firm enough where you could bounce one off the rough and roll it onto the green, which I did. Just rolled out a little bit more than I expected. Again, I think coming into the day, I was kind of hoping to carry on my good play from the previous tournament and be aggressive and make numbers. But I think at this point, this is where mindset started to change a little bit just because I'm all of a sudden playing from behind on a lot of these holes I felt like I should be making birdie on. Fifth hole, straightaway, par 4. It's 448 yards. Wind is off the left, and I kind of stabbed this driver a little bit. It's decent contact, but it was just out to the right, which is a shot I've been fighting a lot recently. As you can see, this left me with pretty much nothing. Just had to try to directly pitch out. Again, this is not the way I thought the round would be going, so at this point, this is where you're starting to make a little bit of the adjustment into trying to make sure that things don't get too out of hand and that you need to keep your score down as much as possible. It's left 133, and I felt like between low spin out of the rough and the wind somewhat helping, that this 50 degree would jump a little bit. I kind of thinned it a little bit. That's why the reaction. I think this went a little bit long. Honestly, got a pretty decent kick to hit the green, and basically just looking at 2-putt to try to get out with bogey. As you can see, I underread that a little bit, but all in all, not too bad. So, unfortunately, 3 over at this point, not the start that I was hoping for. With the driver getting a little bit loose, I felt like it was time to go to my go-to shot, which is teeing down and choking down the driver and just trying to get something in play. And as you can see, I was able to do that here, which is really nice to feel like I recognized that things were going wrong, and I made a good adjustment in order to give myself a chance. The wind, it kind of turned downwind, and I tried to take everything I could off this 9-iron, and I just couldn't commit to hitting pitching wedge from 145. Even though that honestly might have gone long as well if I'd hit it full. It was just a lot of wind on this day, so it was playing tough, and quite frankly, caught a little bit of a bad break, getting shoved up against the collar, and compounded the mistake a little bit by hitting this putt a little bit too hard. Overall, I feel I've been putting well. The reality is, if you're giving yourself a lot of long par putts, you're just gonna run out of mojo at some point, and did so here. So again, kind of felt like I hit 2 good shots, and it was another bogey. So this is sort of a tough time where you have to kind of knuckle down and adjust and just try to make sure that you can keep the round in control. 7 is par 3. Pin was in the back. It was probably a little bit of a stretch for the 7, but it felt like it was a good number. And again, kind of left this out to the right. This green was kind of cut in half by a ridge in the middle, and then the back half of the green was divided into quarters in the back with 1 bowl on the left and 1 bowl on the right. So this pitch was really hard because you kind of had to land it in a certain spot into the hill to kill it, and then have it, based on where you landed it into that hill, get into the right bowl, which I was fortunately able to do, and I hit a really good chip here. So again, talking about momentum in the round. I have tournaments coming up and qualifiers, and this is one of these things where qualifiers don't always go the way you want them to. And even when you're not playing well, you need to be able to try to make adjustments, try to make momentum saving pars. And I hit a good putt here and was able to do that. So felt like things were sliding in the wrong direction, but I was really committed to trying to save things, and it worked out. 8. So again, on that previous drive, I felt like I had made a good adjustment. Decided to go back to that go-to shot again. No shot tracer here, but unfortunately, as you can see, I did not love this. Again, I've been fighting this like stabby, steep out to the right shot. Something I'm still working on, but didn't leave myself with a great position here. Had 181, and I was trying to just hit a massive slice with a 5-iron out of the trees just to hope to get something up close to the green. I gotta say, this was honestly a contender for best shot I hit all day. I think this probably landed like flag high, and as you can see, just went just over the green. But feeling like I got myself back into the position on the hole where I can at least make 4 on one of the hardest par 4s on the course. And then I kind of wasted it by duffing the chip. It was feeling a little frustrating, I think, at this point to just feel like I felt really focused in the round. It felt like I knew what corrections to make, and then I would make them, and then something new would pop up and kill the momentum in a new way. So that was tough to kind of deal with at times, but ended bailing myself out here with another good putt. So kind of feels like there's hope to keep this on track. Heading to 9, which is a short par 4. I made a mistake here, which it's obviously not tournament play, so it really doesn't matter, but I didn't bring a rangefinder, and I kind of thought I actually made a good swing here. I didn't know how far these bunkers were, and I just leaked into it. This left really tough bunker shot. Didn't hit it perfect, and got myself a little bit out of position, probably unnecessarily. Even so, this really was not that challenging of an up and down. Just needed to hit a decent chip up there to get it close. This too, definitely not my best effort. I think in general I've been struggling a little bit more with my chipping this year than I have when maybe in previous years that I've done competitive golf. I've taken a few years away just to do other things, and now that I've kind of gotten back into it, I probably have not invested enough time into chipping, and just doesn't feel like it's quite there yet. So that's something I'll need to develop. Unfortunately, that resulted in a bogey, but hoping I can make the turn and get some better momentum for the back 9. And as you can see, the first swing on the back 9 was not great. And once you see the result, you'll know that it's finding that momentum not off to a good start. I think that was 6-iron from 190 off that lie. I honestly just wasn't thinking through that enough and needed to maybe take more club, but unfortunately did not get the par putt here, but I missed it and made bogey. So again, rounds at 6 over. It's feeling like I'm just trying to make good swings at this point and just try to get something back on track. So par 5, usually a good opportunity to get stuff back. Hit an okay drive. Probably looks like it cut a little bit more on shot tracer than it did. It was overall a pretty good swing. This left a downhill 255 shot. Tried to hit 2-iron and chase one up to the front edge, even though it was a little into the wind. and just made a terrible swing and threw this one into the trees and couldn't find it. So this is now my fourth shot. I dropped and took a penalty shot, which left me about 75 yards to front right pin. Again, these wedges aren't something I've practiced a ton, so probably need to sharpen it up a little bit. Felt like I made good contact here. Didn't really control spin or distance maybe as well as I would have liked, though. And ball ended up rolling down another ridge and leaving me a very, very long par putt. So I don't know what I have here. Maybe about 60 feet. I think this was up over a ridge, probably sliding about 5 to 10 feet to the right. You can see me started out there pretty far left, and even that was not high enough. It's this is one of these things where it's, I don't get with work and other things, I don't get a chance to play a lot. Wasn't loving how the round was going, but this is all the practice I get for tournaments and trying to get sharp. So even so, it's still got to grind out the 5 and 6 footers, even if they're for bogey after you slice a 2-iron out of bounds. All in all, I actually made a pretty good putt there, so I'm proud of that. I think mentality for the round shifted a little bit here. I kind of was feeling a little bit just like, hey, we're here. Let's just try to get as much out of it as possible. Made a good swing here with the 7-iron. I think I ended up lasering actually 192. This is a little further, but with the wind helping it, 7-iron carried a little bit further. This left, from the tee, it felt like I thought it was a little closer. It was one of those ones where you think it's like 10 feet, but it's a little bit further. This putt was a little bit downhill, breaking a decent amount to the left. Felt like I was still putting pretty well, so I felt like I could give this a good run. And guess what? That's golf throwing me a bone, telling me to come back and play. Loving that I can make that birdie putt there. So things were looking up a little bit. Went to the 13th, was short par 4. I felt driver was not treating me well, so I wanted to keep things as safe as possible. Ended up yanking this. This was a 4-iron. As you can see, I pulled this a little bit. Kind of left a little bit of an awkward wedge, a straight downwind. That's why I'm hitting 56 from 122. Kind of got this up in the air and pulled a little bit, but was able to hit the green. This is a pretty big sliding putt, and I think you'll see it after I hit it, but there's also a ridge about halfway between me and the hole, so you can see I'm really just trying to hit a 15-foot putt that ends up going about 30, 35 feet. And it had pretty good speed there. So again, just need to keep grinding out these 3 and 4 footers just so I can have the practice with them. Greens were rolling really good today, so it was really nice to get out and get that practice of playing on difficult greens, really trying to hit good putts, and then feeling like they get rewarded if you hit them well. I unfortunately couldn't film the tee shot on 14. I forgot to hit record. but hit a pretty good driver. So this is a 285 hole. I actually hit that choke down driver again. I was trying to run it up and have it take the slope, but it just kind of went through it. Left a really tough chip, to be honest, and I think because of that, I couldn't quite commit to it. Didn't love this and kind of dumped it out to 40 feet. So short hole, felt like another spot to make birdie. Um, Definitely disappointed with the length of this birdie putt, given that I felt like I hit a pretty good drive. And wow, what a bonus! It feels like I've been able to make longer putts in pretty much every round. I made a putter switch earlier this year from traditional blade Scotty to this spider putter that has some toe hang, and it's been great. It feels like it's been a lot more stable, and for whatever reason, the weight in the putter just seems to work with my stroke a lot better. Continuing to struggle with the miss out to the right, it is just a round killer, and I definitely need to get this under control before the season starts. I mean, right now it's not, it's obviously no fun, but it can at least deal with it. This was on some like hard mulch, and my ball was propped up between two sticks. I knew that I basically either had to top this or somehow hit a stinger, and ended up getting the top. And I just knew that I couldn't miss high and hit a branch. So even though I kind of topped it, I'm pretty okay with that. This was 207 back into the wind, and this felt like it could be one of those knuckleballs where your iron goes 30 yards farther, and I was kind of guarding against that a little bit. So even though that this came up short, it basically just, I think, went the yardage that it was supposed to go instead of catching a huge flyer. So not too disappointed with that. I think after that tee shot, again, feeling like I kind of got myself back into position to give myself a reasonable chance to make par. Left this chip short, and I think this was one of the frustrations of the day, was just not being able to build momentum. It's one of those things where I feel like I did a number of things right at the right time, like make a right adjustment or just not making a bad decision to make triple. I think it would have been nicer to have seen some of those shots like that to reward myself a little bit more for making decent decisions. This left 15 feet for par, and slides a little bit to the right. I was told that this one bobbled a little bit at the beginning. I felt like I hit a good putt. I think it just took just enough speed off of it where it didn't go in. Moving on to 16, again, leaving driver in the bag. I just was afraid to hit it at this point. Even so, still kind of dealing with that out to the right miss. This hole is kind of a forked fairway with a creek down the middle, so turns out the right miss wasn't so bad. This is one of the few iron shots I thought I hit really well during the day. You can see Shot Tracer pretty much has it going right over the flag. This went a little bit long, and I think I hit 3/4 9-iron, which is maybe like a 150 shot for me from 160, and it's carried like 165. So I think even seeing how much like a short iron flew on a day like today was a testament to how much wind was actually out there. I think you can see even on the flag it kind of flutters at different times and will go straight, but it can get really, I think, playing a course like this with a lot of trees and where it's very gusty, it can be very challenging as opposed to maybe a place like Florida where there can be a lot of wind, but it's usually a lot more steady, and the courses feel like they're designed a little bit more to have forgiveness that matches up with the type of wind that they get. I'm giving that to myself. Get out of here. 17 is pretty straightforward, par 3. Not too long. I think I had about 160 to the flag. And you know what? Just chunked this and really got lucky that this got over the water. I think just frustration at this point that I've been trying to adjust, get back into the round. It feels like I hit one good short iron and then I can't hit another one to back it up. Unfortunately, caught this one a little bit heavy and just not super pleased with the result. Again, I think I still felt pretty good with the putter and felt like I could give this one a good run for par. It was about 30 feet, and it was looking like it was going to slide a little bit to the left. I think I got fooled a little bit, and that it kind of went a little bit straight, or maybe to the right at the end. So, hey, you can't expect to make all those. 18 is a long par 4 back into the wind at 443. Just went to that choke down driver, trying to just get something in play and hit this really well. Really nice to feel like I could get at least a fairway here at the end, give myself a decent chance at par. You know what? I got stuck, I think, a little bit here. I was really trying to hit a punch back into the wind. And what's funny is I felt like I had left so much out to the right that I would aim more left, and I think I just hit it more right. I forgot to bring my camera for the third shot, and honestly, that was one of the best shots I hit all day. It was like a 30-yard flop out of the tall grass to here, so was loving that. Wish I got that on camera. Left a short putt here for par, and was happy to at least make that. It was really fun getting out. Met some new people, Mike, Walt, and Kevin. So enjoyed playing with all of them. Appreciate them for letting me film and had a lot of fun. Thanks, guys, for watching. I will catch you next time.